Artsy video games usually aren't my preference. I often find them pretentious and boring, and they fail to use the medium in interesting ways. The Unfinished Swan does not fall into this trap. It's beautiful, creative, and surprisingly, a fun game to play. The player takes the role of an orphan named Monroe, whose only memento of his mother is a painting that she never finished. One night, the swan from that painting flies away and Monroe gives chase, finding himself in a blindingly white environment which turns out to be an abandoned kingdom built by a king who is consistently unsatisfied with his life. Unable to discern the surroundings as they are, the player must paint the environment in order to navigate it. There's not a whole lot to the Unfinished Swan, especially for the first 30 minutes, but the way that it's presented is what makes it so appealing. There is very little danger in the gameplay, however there is something very wrong and unsettling about Monroe's world. Despite the narrator having a calm and soothing voice, the story is actually pretty grim.
He was feeling so good, in fact, that he forgot all about his fear of heights. But when the swan wriggled free and Monroe fell over the side, he remembered almost immediately. That might have been the end of Monroe if this were a shorter story, but it isn't, which is why Monroe's troubles were just beginning.
It mostly focuses on the aforementioned king, his accomplishments, trials, and struggles. It's such a childish story, but it's also relatable and humbling.
Before he discovered painting, the king was a potter. He loved the simplicity of a well-spun pot. So when his subjects complained that his new city was too austere and that there was nowhere to relieve themselves, the king ignored them. But when they started relieving themselves in his pots, the king hastily built them a sewer system.
If the game stayed as an all-white canvas for its entirety, then I'd be pretty disappointed. Thankfully, the landscape slowly evolved to be more dynamic as the levels progress.
The king's new subjects were tired of white. They were tired of tripping, of banging their shins, of misplacing their homes. So they started painting everything, ruining the king's spotless design. In response, the king outlawed all non-magical brushes and pledged to spend the next month painting shadows for his kingdom.
There's something really beautiful about the simplicity of the world that makes it visually engaging, even if there's not a whole lot going on. Gameplay-wise, there are a few simple puzzles strewn about, and while they're not really all that challenging, they are rewarding due to the clever ways that they're implemented in the game. My only real complaint is in how slow the player walks, but considering how short the game is and how much of it is a visual treat, I can definitely excuse this aspect. I wish I could go into greater detail, but a big part of the Unfinished Swan are all the surprises that lie in wait, especially in how the gameplay varies slightly from level to level. What I can say is that $15 is an awfully steep price for a 3-hour game. But if you're looking for a unique and memorable experience, then I do recommend it. Keep an eye on it and snatch it up once it goes on sale. It's short and simplistic, but enjoyable. Thank you for watching my review on The Unfinished Swan. If you enjoyed this video, click the like button, and if you'd like to see more, subscribe.